Welcome back to another Coffee Talk podcast with your boys Hakim.
And Akil.
So, Akil, what are you talking about today?
So we're talking about nutrition with the woman herself, Denise.
Hi.
So basically she's from LCS. She also is like a part of the LCS club with me. So we took a question survey. So we actually got 30 questions from the Bodywash gym. So the first question we'll answer is about pre-workout. So what should we eat before a workout for energy?
Yeah, so very good questions, first of all. I think it's first of all very important to look what your goal is, whether it's to go to the gym, whether it's to have a football training or a strength session. But mainly, the basic advice is to focus on the carbs. The most ideal is to make sure that you consume roughly 60 grams of carbohydrates an hour and a half before your training sessions, if it's a very intense cardio session. If you go more towards strength, half of it will be do the job as well. To give an example, 30 grams is like a banana, but it can also be a sports drink, maybe some toast, white toast with some jam. These are all good sources with a lot of carbs. And also very important is to take away the protein and the fat because it takes a long time. Yes, and I always try to explain, it's very, to make it logical, protein has a main function as recovery. So it doesn't really make sense to eat your recovery before a training session because you have to energize. So protein, fiber, also because you don't want your... Oh my gosh! Start to work while you're in the gym or while you're on the beach so keep the fiber intake low, but protein also, and avoid fats at all costs, even though they're good fats, because they are hard to digest, and they don't give you the quick energy that you need, that pre-workout moment. So, even healthy fats, so avocado, nuts, fully fat milks and dairy. Just stay away of that before you work out, but it's perfect.
So, the advice earlier is it something known as carbo loading disorder?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and this can be very beneficial if you have an endurance training for longer than, for example, 90 minutes. So if you have a football game or maybe longer, like a half a marathon or triathlon, that kind of stuff, it would be recommended to have the day before, if, for example, your dinner, to have a high carb meal. Focus less on the vegetables and the protein. And then, of course, very important the moment you wake up, you have a very high-paced breakfast as well. Yeah.
I hear that in the morning. High carb breakfast.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So the night before and the morning?
Yes.
Both?
Yeah. And it depends where, also planning-wise. So if you decide to go already to the gym or you have a game at 9 a.m. in the morning, you have less time, especially in the morning, to have a proper breakfast that fills up your storage after you wake up and yet your fasting period. So then even the day before is more important. If you have your training session at the end of the day or a game in the end of the day, there's a little bit more time to fill up your energy storage already throughout the day. But then still, for longer endurance trainings, games, races,
But will eating protein before a workout make you feel like lethargic?
It doesn't have to be lethargic, but it's more, it doesn't give you the energy at the moment you need. So the first maybe 15, 30 minutes you will be fine. It's like comparing yourself with a race car, which is not fully topped up. So along the time and throughout your workout, you will just running out of fuel. Because you didn't have like that fuel storage stopped up from the beginning.
I think I experienced it because sometimes before I gym at school, there's this shop below the gym called the Tiga Cafe. So I get chicken puff one. And it's like, so then I'll be like, I'm ready to gym. But then halfway through my session, I'm kind of tired.
Yeah. It's very, you look at the function of the foods, it's not very romantic, I just like what I eat. or I eat what I like to eat. But okay, I need energy, so I'm gonna eat carbs. Protein don't give me the energy, so there's no point of having that before.
The next we'll be moving on to post-workout nutrition. So one of our users asks, is a protein shake necessary after a workout?
Yes, it can be very necessary, but it also depends on what kind of food you have nearby. Pardon, and nearby at the moment you're finished. It's basically that after your gym session, if you had a very heavy strength session or a very intense training session, your muscles are damaged. That's just how it works. And the first 30 minutes after your workout, your body is like a sponge. So, and it's screaming for recovery. So the moment you take these protein in within these 30 minutes after exercise, the protein synthesis will be improved. If you wait much longer, it's getting less. So a protein shake is often easy to bring with you, as sometimes it's difficult to have a full meal with a lot of protein directly after your training session. So I think at LCS, there is always food after a training session. So depending on the amount of protein that will be in that meal, I would say, okay, now a protein shake is needed, or a protein shake is not needed because you get all the protein already out of that meal. And it's also a myth that people think, oh, the more protein I take, the better. But your body's only able to use about 35 grams of protein per time, which get fully absorbed for muscle synthesis. But so sometimes I still see people taking 2 scoops of protein shakes because they think, oh, the more the better, and then now I'm growing. But unfortunately, everything extra, you would just pee out, and your kidneys get a tough time. So the more in terms of protein, the better is definitely not the case. It's much more important how you take your protein throughout the day. So if you spread it out in let's say 4 times a day, about 25 to 30 grams a day, you easily reach your protein needs. And the absorption will be much better than if you do, for example, 2 times 60.
So the myth would be like, all protein is better, but that's not the case actually.
Yeah.
So does this apply to muscle building as well?
Yeah. So it's often I'm hearing like, oh yeah, I didn't have enough protein throughout the day to reach my needs, and then it's in the evening I get a double protein shake and then maybe some like Greek yogurt with a lot, and also your dinner with chicken or salmon. So then they think like, oh okay, so I can cover everything that I missed throughout the day in one meal. Which is unfortunately less ideal. Less ideal.
So the ideal protein intake per meal would be about 35 grams.
Yes.
But some people say that they feel they can take more, like to the extent of 60 grams, and then they don't experience the effects of going to the toilet afterwards.
Yeah.
So is it like sort of an individualized thing also?
Yeah, definitely. It doesn't have to be that you have to go to the toilet, but it's more what happens within the body in terms of whether, if you consume 40 grams of protein, it would be most ideal that these 40 grams will be used for muscle building. However, sometimes that's not the case. Everything above a certain limit basically got to waste. So, you pee it out. And this is a waste of your protein powder because that stuff is expensive. Yeah.
What's the recommended daily protein intake? Because I think it's 1.6 times your body weight or something like that.
Yeah, very good question. It's also, depending on what kind of athlete you are. So for bodybuilders, I would definitely recommend to go more towards the 2 grams. Where you're just like a recreational gym, 1.4 will already be enough. A football player often is, 1.5 is what I always advise the boys. But when you're injured, your protein intake is also higher, or the needs are higher, because you want to avoid muscle breakdown because you're less active. So to support your muscles with the appropriate amount of protein is very important in this stage. So then you go more towards the 2 grams on 2 grams per kilogram of body weight. So it's really different. It's never really a one size fits all story.
Yeah, see, that's actually really interesting. I didn't even know why the injury part is especially.
It's like even, for example, if you're taking a deload week, it's important to keep your protein intake up
Yeah.
to prevent your muscle from breaking down.
Yeah.
More you know.
Yeah.
Because I'm deloading this week, so I was thinking about putting phase in my diet. But
Yeah.
I guess I can't do that, right?
No, it's keep the protein up, and then when you're getting less active, so it's also again, okay, what is your focus? Is your focus, I want to maintain my muscle mass. Yes, well, you have to keep your protein intake up. But if you're gonna be less active, which is the case for a couple when you're injured, then automatically you need less energy, and less energy means less carbs. So that's the part you're cutting down on, and perhaps a bit of like the fats, the very dense foods, and also to support your immune system and to keep to support your body with the right nutrients. I know a lot of people here in Singapore are not a fan of it, so it's always gives me a headache. But yeah, it is crucial that at least 2 times a day that you have a portion of vegetables in your food. And I don't mean like 2 slices of cucumber with a nasi lemak.
I heard that it helps with inflammation, right?
Yes.
Especially for athletes.
Yeah, especially for athletes.
Is it an antioxidant or something?
Yes. Yeah. So also you have certain foods that are very high in antioxidants in the berries, but also ginger and turmeric and these kind of stuff, or just vegetables in general, are helping to lower your inflammation levels, which is when you're an athlete which trains 5-6 days a week or as a game, your inflammation levels can be pretty high because your body is on a constant stress. So yeah, if you want to lower these stress levels, it's very important to consume your veggies, and it's that you see a direct result of it. That's why it's like but it's probably not that important. But what happens inside of the body to keep you healthy as an athlete to push your career as far as possible, it also happens with the insides of the body rather than only the muscles also still. Yeah.
So you heard that, kids, eat your veggies.
Eat your veggies, yes.
Does the type of protein really matter?
Yeah. Well, I think that's also a question that has been written down on the best quality types of protein. So you have, of course, pea, you have soy, which are more plant-based, but you also have whey, and whey protein is, and whey protein has the highest quality of protein that you basically can get. So in terms of muscle repair, you have to see it as like amino acids. It's how proteins are built, and the different kind of amino acids decide whether a protein is complete or not. And the more complete a protein is, the better quality. And with animal-based protein sources, the quality of the amino acids, the profile is more complete. So this is why it is a better source of protein, higher quality. Nevertheless, when you are lactose intolerant or you're not going really well on the whey proteins, pea protein or soy are good alternatives to take. Yeah, same as egg. Egg has a very good, complete profile of protein. So this is, it sounds maybe stupid, but sometimes I would recommend, just bring 2 boiled eggs to a training or like after the gym and just stuff that in. It's not the most nicest, but for people who really need that, it's like an advice that I could give. But yeah, in terms of quality, you have to look at the amino acid profile. Which one key amino acid is leucine. And it's also in whey, but also in legumes, whole foods, salmon, not. So yeah, that's also why it is important to include these kind of foods in your diet.